Tommy Curran talking about the impatience of Patriots fans when it comes to the offense and how that is fair because they've had to watch year after year after year the offense be a problem. It's, as he outlined for you, Cam Newton in 2020.
Yeah.
Right? And that offense, followed by a good year with Mac Jones in 2021. That was a year where they were able to sort of put it together. And then the regression in 22 with the Patricia and Judge disaster. Not being able to get it back online in 23, even with Bill O'Brien being here. Now you've got 2024, and you're rebooting again. Every year it's a reboot. It's been a reboot 5 years running now for this Patriots team, and people are starting to probably feel a little impatient. Maybe not as much now as it will be once these games begin. But once these games begin, I don't know if there's anything going on this field so far. It's only been, 5 practices, 4 practices? Only 4 practices so far. There's nothing that sort of stands out and gives you reason to believe, this year, this will be different. Now the reboot will actually work.
Yeah, you got to have an impactful draft. And the reason they're in this problem is you kind of had to go out and get guys in free agency. You had to go get Judon. You had to go get Trent Brown. When Trent Brown was right and Scar was here and he motivated him and got on his ass in between series, that was a damn good offensive line. They always figured out the guard position. Andrews is so damn solid in the middle that he's able to make all these calls. And if you got smart guys out there, you should have kept a guy like Joe Tooney. Shaq Mason, when he started to get up there in the money, Bill dealt him away too. So you did have good guys. You used to have good guys. And now you're trying to incorporate young guys mixed with a couple old guys and really some journeyman veterans on the outside with guys like Okorafor and Anderson. And that's tough. That is tough.
Now, yesterday, for a second consecutive practice, the Patriots started with Caden Wallace at left tackle, with Chuks Okorafor at right tackle.
Left to right. That's tough.
That's now 4 right tackles they've tried out since spring.
And what's that tell you about the left side?
That counts at 4.
Yeah.
How many more do you think we're going to try out there before we find one?
No, but if Chuks looked great throughout 5 days, you're leaving him on the left side. So that tells you he's having some problems on the left.
Yeah, he was. We saw it at the end of the week. It was pretty obvious that they're having problems.
Yeah, the big question is tackle.
And they're having problems on the right side, too. And so now they're just going to keep, circling through? You try left tackle now. Now you try right tackle. What is going on? It already highlights their failure in the offseason to find solid players to play those positions. They didn't do it. You hope the best for Wallace, but he's a rookie.
Yeah.
I won't blame the players for this if this looks ugly once the season begins.
Yeah, it's not their fault.
I will place the blame solely on Elliott Wolf. Send your complaints to Elliott Wolf for not getting the job done up front.
I mean, you should have at least 5 guys that make this football team from your draft this year. Obviously the quarterback. But the 2 receivers, they made some impactful plays yesterday. They're starting to separate a little bit. And the 2 linemen that you mentioned, the kid from Penn State and the kid from Texas A&M, those guys should make the football team, and they should be able to play. Those guys are going to dress on Sundays. Are you going to keep 8? You're going to keep 9. And with potential injuries and, the inability to play, and you're going to bench a guy, you've got to have an extra lineman or 2.
Well, that frustration from the fans that, Tommy Curran was talking about there and stuff, I think started, honestly, when, for 20 years you have, all right, in Belichick we trust, and there might be a decision where you're like, how's this going to play out? And it always worked. And then Matt Patricia to the offense was a very questionable decision, and it was an absolute disaster. And now you're looking at this again, and you're going into the season, and every fan out there is going, hey, you don't have any tackles on this roster. And guess what? Through the first few days of training camp, it doesn't look like you have any tackles on the roster. So that's where the frustration comes from a fan perspective. Glaring holes on the roster that are not being addressed. Questionable decisions that are being made by the team that wind up being horrific decisions.
If they go into the year and their receivers stink, you'll at least say, well, they made efforts. They spent real draft capital at the position. They went out and signed KJ Osborne. They did some stuff there. Yes. They tried to make it better. It's hard to overhaul a position like that in an offseason, but, they didn't do everything they could have done. My thoughts on Calvin Ridley. I'm not going to go through it again, but at least they did something. What did they really do at tackle? that you can look at and say they gave that an honest effort?
They didn't. They went to the second or third tier. And the scary thing is, like, there were guys out there. Tyron Smith, he was out there for a while. So what happens? Jets pick him up. And a kid from Cincinnati could have had him 2 years for $20 million. Like, there were guys that were available. But going back to the past, like, they nailed the drafts prior. Nate Solder was a really good pick at 18. Sebastian Vollmer, Matt Light. Matt Light was a great second-round pick. Even guys like Cam Fleming and Marcus Cannon. You drafted them later, but, like, you developed those guys. And Marcus ended up playing pretty good for you on that right side. And it's been a dip since then. You went out and you gave Trent Brown money. Now, he wasn't as motivated as those other guys, but he was a big human being, and he had experience in the league. And when he's right, he's damn good. He's a damn good tackle. And that just doesn't always happen 24/7. But Scar kicked his ass and got him going, and they won a Super Bowl with that guy.
Other things from over the weekend, I mentioned KJ Osborne. Not a great day for him on Sunday. Reading from what Phil Perry had on practice yesterday. He writes, the stock is down on Osborne. There was a play during a late 7-on-7 period where it looked as though Drake May made a good decision to try and protect his wideout, throwing a slant to Osborne. May appeared to try and lead his receiver away from the linebacker, Jelani Tavai, who was looming in the middle of the field. The pass was on Osborne's back shoulder and catchable. It ricocheted off its intended target and fell incomplete. Another attempt to Osborne, this one during 11-on-11, was broken up by Alex Austin. Ah, yes, lockdown Alex Austin. Osborne also had the football punched out of his grasp by Brendan Schooler during a ball security drill.
Schooler's been getting some reps.
When Austin and Schooler are taking you to task, I mean,
those will be third quarter, fourth quarter guys playing in those games when we start doing them next week. Yeah, we're going to see a lot of Brendan Schooler in that second half at safety.
Also, Joe Milton's stock is down on him after yesterday.
It's going to be a roller coaster ride with this guy. I'm just telling you.
He wrote that Milton seemed to have a tougher day on Sunday, completing just one of his first 5 attempts.
Jeez.
And in that stretch, gifted an interception to linebacker Joe Giles Harris. I don't know that individual. Should I be super familiar with him, Louth? No. What? Good pronunciation. Yes. Okay. That's why I had to slow down there. I'm like, who's this? I don't know who that is. It's a big roster right now. Who is lurking underneath near the line. Moments later, Milton sailed to throw to tight end LaMichael Petway. That probably should have been caught, but was zipped unnecessarily over Petway's head again.
90 miles an hour.
Names you're not going to hear come September. But he had a down day. He's crashing back to earth after popping in the first week.
Popping one day.
I think it was back-to-back days. He had some nice throws.
Well, I mean, he's going to have great throws out here every day. I mean,
dude's got a rocket for an arm, though.
Yeah,
just can't control that thing.
I remember watching Cam throw out here for the first time earlier, and I thought, okay, you're going to have something here. Because he hit an in cut one of those first couple practices, and it was just off the back foot, just like Joe. Joe throws off the back foot, Joe Milton.
Yeah.
And you can just tell, like, certain guys just have that whip, have that velocity, and you don't see it with Zappy. You don't see it with Jacoby. You really don't see it that much with May. The more and more I watch May, I mean, it's got a baseball feel to it. I don't know how to explain it, but it's, for a 6'4" guy, it's not completely over the top. It's, I could lower my shoulder slot. I could kind of like scoop it, trying to turn two and a double play, so to speak. Little sidearm action. Now that's part of him liking to throw on the run. Mahomes does that too. Yeah, you'll see Mahomes go over the top. But when you're on the move, I think that's what it does. Sort of gets him to drop those shoulders. So he's got to be careful with that. You get some passes knocked down here at this level.
Yeah. 617-779-0985. Let's take this call. Leo in the car has been hanging on. He wanted to talk about Christian Barmore. What's up, Leo?
Hi, guys. How are you?
Hey, Leo.
I had a similar situation to Barmore's in January. Pulmonary embolism, blood clot in the leg, traveled to my lung, didn't know it, got rushed to the hospital. They first thought I was having a heart attack. Wasn't a heart attack. After tests and whatnot, sent me home. 2 days later, I'm back in the rescue, the Rhode Island hospital. They finally CAT scan, revealed a large blood clot in my lungs, and Fortunately, the blood thinners have worked, but I'm still on them. And I'm a lot of older than Balmore at 66. But yeah, it was a little scary, and I've never had blood clots before. And I probably got to be on blood thinners for at least to the end of the year. So I don't know what that means for him and this season.
Yeah, it could be some time. I think that's what we learned going back a few years with David Andrews. This type of thing could take some time.
Yeah.
So I think you should count him out for right now. I don't think that you should factor him into the Patriots' defensive plans for 2024 at this point.
That sucks.
Yeah, it does. I mean, sucks for him to be going through it. Sucks for his team. He's probably pretty excited to get back out there. He continues to improve every single year. The guy gets better, and he finished last year in strong fashion and got that new deal.
Deserved it. That's one of the few guys that really, really deserved the money. Coming out of that year, as bad as it was, we're got to get this guy done.
Yeah. Probably would much rather be out here playing football today as the Patriots get the pads on. This hour of coverage from training camp brought to you by Beantown Home Improvements. Score a touchdown with Beantown Home Improvements and get your home project done right. Gerard Mayo talking more about the quarterback situation on this team. He says Jacoby Brissett is the most pro-ready guy they have. I don't think anyone would disagree with that.
I agree with it, 100%.
Right? I don't think anyone would disagree. There's a lot that goes into that, meaning pro-ready. But also reiterating that Drake May is competing for the job, and they want him to be competing for the job. But has he? Has he shown us anything through the first 4 days?
Hey, if you like that clip, check out more videos from Zolak and Bertrand right here. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.